Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Dr. Robert Halliday, Senior Associate Provost and Dean of Graduate Studies. The inaugural procession has commenced. I ask that you listen for the playing of the bagpipes, which signals to us that the procession will be entering the stadium shortly. The bagpipes are played by Caitlin Murray Lee, a Utica College graduate from the class of 2003. Our faculty marshals are Dr. Linda Z., Dr. Jessica Thomas, Professor William Verkler, Dr. Patrice Halleck, Professor Stephen Peake, and Dr. Bernard Hyman. I will introduce the members of the procession as they arrive. Please rise for the advancement of the procession. Leading the procession is the mace bearer, Dr. Thomas Rossi, Professor of Management, followed by the Utica College Color Guard and the academic marshals. Members of the Utica College Color Guard include Marjorie Tete, Timothy Smith, and the academic marshals are, from the School of Arts and Sciences, Maggie Tabone. From the School of Business and Justice Studies, Mikhail Bashinsky. From the School of Health Professions and Education, Angela Wheely. And carrying the alumni banner is Demetrius Petway. Now processing are the delegates representing other universities and colleges. Delegates are entering the stadium in order of their institution's founding year. Institutions represented are the University of Pennsylvania, 1740. Rutgers University, 1766. Hamilton College, 1812. Rochester Institute of Technology, 1829. New York University, 1831. Emory University, 1836. State University of New York at Buffalo, 1846. Elmira College, 1855. St. Lawrence University, 1856. Syracuse University, 1870. Houghton College, 1883. University of Scranton, 1888. The State University of New York College at Oneonta, 1889. Utica College, 1890. Clarkson University, 1896. Albany State University, 1903. The State University of New York College at Canton, 1906. Alfred State College, 1908. Nazareth College, 1924. Vienna College, 1937. Donna University, 1937. Valley Community College, 1946. Orange County Community College, 1950. Herkimer College, 1966. State University of New York Polytechnic Institute, 1966. State University of New York Empire State College, 1971. And Thomas Edison State University. Next, we welcome members of the Utica College's Alumni Council. Next, we welcome alumni delegates representing each of Utica College's graduating class years from 1949 as well as student delegates representing each of the currently enrolled classes 2017 through 2020. Delegates are organized by the decade during which they graduated or will graduate. Now entering are the presiding officers of the Utica College Faculty Senate and the executive committees of the Professional Staff Advisory Council and Student Senate. Next in the procession are the faculty and staff of Utica College. And now we welcome the academic leadership of Utica College. Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Sharon Wise. Dean of the School of Business and Justice Studies, Dr. Rick Fenner. And Dean of the School of Health Professions and Education, Dr. Harry Slife. Now processing into the stadium are our federal, state, and local elected officials. New York State Senator Joseph Griffo. Commissioner of the New York State Office of General Services, Roanne DeStido. City of Rome Mayor Jacqueline Izzo. City of Utica Mayor Robert Palmieri. And representing United States Senator Kristen Gillibrand, Regional Director Jared Jones. Next are the members of the Utica College Board of Trustees, Emeriti Trustees, and Emeriti members of the Utica College Foundation Board. Entering now is the platform party. Leading the platform party are Dr. John Johnson, Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, and Mr. Mark Polupchuk, Chairperson of the Utica College Board of Trustees, who are escorted by the platform party marshals, Dr. Nancy Hollins, Professor of Occupational Therapy, and Dr. Lawrence Aronson, Professor of Biology. The inaugural speakers are Dr. Frank Bergman, the Walter D. Edmonds Distinguished Professor Emeritus of English and German, and Mr. David D'Alessandro, Utica College Class of 1972. The bearer of the college seal is Mr. Mark Salisbury, Utica Class of 1979 and member of the Board of Trustees. The bearers of the institutional charter are Mr. Elliot Coleman and Ms. Cynthia Jarrell, both Utica College students. The inaugural poets are Dr. Gary Lysing, Professor of English, and Utica College student Ms. Gianna Bone. The invocation will be given by Father Paul Drobin, and the Utica College student Tennille Davis will sing the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, now entering the stadium is the 9th president of Utica College, Dr. Laura Casamento.
This college's 9th president. And now, Tennille Davis, a member of the class of 2018, will perform the national anthem, followed by the invocation delivered by Father Paul Drobin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed stars through the perilous o'er the ramparts we'd watched with so gallantly, and the rockets spread glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let us pray. Dear God, source of all that is, and sustainer that all has come to be, we beseech your abiding presence and watchful care on all of our Utica College community and all the communities represented here today as we gather for this inauguration and installation ceremony. We ask your special blessings upon our soon-to-be President of Utica College, Dr. Laura Casamento. May Dr. Casamento's virtues and attributes of insight and wisdom, compassion and care continue to be strengthened and enhanced so that our new president may provide inspiration and motivation for all of our Utica College community, fulfilling our aspirations that we may never stand still, and our pioneering spirit may bolster our commitment to better ourselves, serve our community, improve our world, and so give honor and glory to you, our God, this day and forevermore. Amen.
You may be seated. Let me begin by thanking all of you for being part of this very important moment in the history of our college as we open a new door to a new era. I particularly want to thank our students, our alumni, our faculty and staff, and our Board of Trustees for coming together as a community in celebration of this remarkable institution that we call home. Sincere thanks as well to the friends of the Casamento family and other special guests for joining us today. Welcome to the delegates from our sister colleges and universities, many of whom have traveled great distances to be in attendance with us today. Thank you for sharing this moment with us. I'm also very proud to welcome Mayor Palmieri of Utica, Mayor Izzo of Rome, Assemblyman Anthony Brindisi, Commissioner Roanne DeStito, and representatives from the offices of Senators Schumer and Gillibrand, all of them long and fast friends of Utica College. Last but not least, I welcome enthusiastically alumni delegates from every graduating college or class in the college's history. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the inauguration of our 9th president. Coincidentally, Utica College is also celebrating the 70th anniversary of its founding by Syracuse University, Utica College. So it is a time for both renewal and reflection. Frankly, it came as a bit of a surprise to me to realize that of the college's 9 presidents, I have now served under 7 of them. And if I'm not mistaken, my colleague Frank Bergman, who will speak in a few minutes, served under all of them prior to Dr. Casamento. Now, in case you're thinking that means that Frank and I have been kicking around since 1946, I assure you it only feels that way. In reality, until the 1960s, the college's chief executive officer had the title of dean in the Syracuse University administrative system. Kenneth Donahue, our dean in the early 60s, was appointed the first president in 1963. Dr. Casamento, you are in fact assuming the mantle of leadership of a very young institution. 70 years is not very old for an academic institution. We're young enough that every single one of our graduating classes can be represented today by living alumni. But even the 70-year figure is misleading, since as an independent entity, we are younger still. We have been financially independent from Syracuse for only about 20 years. We've been administratively independent even less time. Until last May, we continued to confer Syracuse University degrees on at least some of our graduates. And finally, due to the fact that we've grown so substantially in the last decade, we've added a very large number of new faculty and staff. So we are now, by and large, a faculty and staff that is young and new to the institution. Young institutions, like young people, have a special character and huge assets. They are energetic, enthusiastic, expansive, which sometimes means expensive, and impatient for change and development. They bring fresh eyes and new ideas, and are not so caught up with the inertia of the way things have always been done. The recent hiring we have done has populated our classrooms and offices with people who have experienced a wide variety of other institutions and are prepared to bring that experience to bear on our challenges and goals. Young institutions, like young people, metaphorically have a lift in their step and a lilt in their voice that is refreshing and stimulating. Young institutions, like young people, also have, as they say, issues. They tend to be underfinanced and under-resourced. They tend not to be very careful budget managers. They tend to have underdeveloped processes for self-governance, and they tend to want to grow up and develop more quickly than is sometimes good for them. Young institutions, like young people, are good innovators, not always so good at consolidating and husbanding resources. So, Dr. Casamento, you have your work cut out for you. But as you join the fray, you have a number of resources that we, the college community, are ready to put at your and our disposal. You have a stunningly bright and dynamic faculty, focused on and effective at student success, and whose level of scholarly activity is unusually robust for any institution of higher education, especially so for a teaching-oriented institution. You have a very talented staff whose talent is only surpassed by the depths of its dedication to the college and its mission. You have a student body that is serious, that is focused, who almost literally fill the library to the rafters day after day, who challenge us continually to be a better institution. And I've heard, know how to have a good time every once in a while. Due to the work of many people, but especially that of your predecessor, Dr. Todd Hutton, you inherited an institution that in its diversity and array of programs, its physical plant, its size, and its sense of drive is as unlike the Utica College of 1998, when Todd became our president, as that college was unlike the branch campus in the church basement in Oneida Square in 1946. But most importantly, you've inherited a college that through all of its challenges and growth has remained true to a mission of opportunity and hope, and a set of values that emphasizes both the sanctity of the individual and the importance of the community. A mission and a set of values that are as relevant to our world today as they were in 1946. Dr. Casamento, Madam President, Laura, I present the Utica College community. It's now my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Mark Pilipchuk, Chair of the Utica College Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Provost Johnson, and thank you all for being part of this momentous occasion. Laura Casamento is next in a succession of exceptional individuals who have served this institution as president since its founding 70 years ago. I'm also delighted to acknowledge Dr. Lansing Baker, the fifth president of Utica College, who is with us here this afternoon. Like her predecessors, Dr. Casamento will guide the college with great care, dedicating all of her energies and abilities to the pursuit of UC's mission and the fulfillment of its destiny through insightful leadership and a sincere appreciation for its history and traditions. I want to take a moment to recognize my colleagues on the Board of Trustees and the faculty, staff, alumni, and students who served on the Presidential Search Committee. And I particularly would like to thank Trustee Mark Salisbury, who chaired the search committee, as well as my predecessor's chairperson, Larry Gilroy, who initiated the search. As a transformative presidency of Todd Hutton drew to a close, the Board of Trustees was determined to secure the college's future by selecting a leader uniquely qualified to carry his remarkable legacy forward. I'm very proud to say that Utica College now has the visionary leadership it needs to embark upon a new era of growth and achievement, thanks to the extremely professional efforts of the Presidential Search Committee. The committee's rigorous and comprehensive national search produced a short list of very highly qualified candidates, all of whom had something of great value to offer this institution and the families that it serves. But by virtue of her unique capabilities and insights, as well as her many contributions to Utica College as Executive Vice President and Chief Advancement Officer, Dr. Casamento stood out among this extremely competitive field. She played a major role in strengthening the financial foundation of the college through a dramatic expansion of annual giving and other forms of support over the past 10 years, including the most successful campaign in our history. She assembled a remarkable enrollment management team that has both increased enrollment and improved retention. Just as importantly, she has provided crucial leadership in support of UC's affordability initiative, expanding the reach of our mission of service and extending the promise of a Utica College education to a greater number of families than ever before. As a proud alumnus of the college, I understand the power of that promise. This institution has always been about inspiring thought, confidence, and imagination, transforming lives and building a better future for our students and our community. Since my days as a student here, I've seen Utica College undergo its own transformation, raising its profile as a center of academic excellence and innovative learning. I've watched this campus grow dramatically, dedicating sophisticated facilities and instructional resources that help prepare our students for success in a rapidly changing world. But through decades of growth, Utica College has never lost sight of what sets us apart from most other places. We are still known for our very personal approach to higher education, our willingness to innovate and explore new ways of learning, our commitment to diversity in all of its forms, and our tradition of service to the Mohawk Valley, the community by whom and for whom Utica College was founded. In all things, we are guided by our founding principles. This has been our strength through good times and bad. Today, we have come together to celebrate the inauguration of a new president. This is a truly great time to be a pioneer. But we can never be content to stand still. The landscape of higher education is changing rapidly, and with those changes come both incredible opportunities and incredible challenges. I firmly believe that as an institution, we are equal to the challenges of a new age, and we are extremely fortunate to have such able leadership to guide our way forward. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to introduce our inaugural poets, Professor of English Gary Lysing and Gianna Boone, a sophomore communication arts major and member of the Poetry Society Open Moments.
Open doors. The GI home from France, 6 weeks, still fumbled with his lock. Decades later, on the same block, the daughter of refugees would not leave the porch, embarrassed by her halting, stumbling English. Her parents mumbled old world worries. That GI found a door in a basement, an old church on the square, its series of rooms reminding him of a bunker, but everyone there with books instead of guns. An Italian man in ragged tweed held a door for him and nodded. That Belarusian girl would be let in by another professor in a different building, different campus. His keys unlocked the lab, its glittering microscopes and scanners, drops on slides. Later, she stared into the heart of some bacterium's circular DNA. Another world unlocked. Here, the doors are all the same, a push or pull handle designed to fit the human twist of your wrist. There are no electric eyes sliding glass apart too soon or late, breaking your stride. No sinister spin of revolving doors to suck one in and spit you out. Here, Today, a young man from Brooklyn learns how the market works, imagines moving his family out of the rent-controlled apartment with a deadbolt-lined door, and hears a young woman who walked her family farm this summer through rotting barn doors, reciting Dickinson's narrow lines to herself as a corn snake combed through the grass toward knee-high crops. To them today we say, come in. We hold the door for the one struggling with a sketch pad, a thick math text, a laptop, and a scarred field hockey stick all at once. Another carrying less goes through, more follow. That GI's name today sounds familiar. You've seen it somewhere and everywhere in this town, newspapers, business cards, or a sign. The refugee's daughter, halfway across the country, unlocks her lab, shoulders on a white coat stitched with her name. And so what are we to do today and tomorrow? We open one more door. Thousands of them have remained closed. Boardrooms, offices, examination rooms, judges' chambers, a new storefront beyond a red ribbon and oversized scissors, libraries, the hidden door on an underground railroad stop, Ellis Island's last checkpoint, or the chapel door a Catholic priest unlocks to let in Muslim students so they can kneel and pray facing Mecca. Where someone builds a wall, let there be a door, like the next one in front of you. Let no one be alone. We will unscrew every lock. Thousands of doors swing open. Across the thresholds, step everyone we've helped. With one arm back to keep the door open, may we all help the next person too. May another and another endlessly step through.
We don't need a title. Girls, be who you are. Be free. Unity within the community. That's how it should be. But what if it could be equality? We are all equal. Don't just do it for yourself. Do it for the people. I won't settle for less than I deserve. I refuse to be treated like anything less than I am worth. You're nothing but a delinquent. My middle school teacher told me this, but who actually holds the chips? I refuse to let that change me. I refuse to let the negative criticism faze me. Are you listening to my thoughts, my words? Because everything I've stated so far was for the people who were never heard. We can all fly. You are an angel in the sky. Someone who was paid to teach me, the same woman whose job was to educate freely. Don't just do it for yourself. Do it for you and the people. Give it up for the females. Wait, let me get into detail. You will not be another statistic, and that's a fact. Our first ever female president will handle her role with grace and with class. Positive outlets, let it out, scream it out. I refuse to remain silent and not exercise this God-given talent. My ability to write, my ability to speak so fluent. There's no I in team, so let's believe it now. Every silver lining is not a dark cloud. Make our first female president proud.
Thank you, Dr. Leising and Gianna. We will now hear from one of the college's most distinguished professors, Dr. Frank Bergman, Walter D. Edmonds Distinguished Professor Emeritus of English and German. A native of Germany, Dr. Bergman first came to the United States as a Fulbright scholar. He joined the faculty of Utica College in 1969 and served for 44 and a half years as professor of English and German until his retirement in 2014. During that long and fruitful tenure, Dr. Bergman was very well regarded as a mentor to students and young faculty alike. He is a first-rate scholar of American literature. His particular focus is on authors from upstate New York, but Dr. Bergman also has a deep interest in world literature with an emphasis on fairy tales. He is the recipient of both the Virgil Crisafulli Distinguished Teaching Award and the Harold T. Clark Jr. Award for Distinguished Scholarship and Professional Accomplishment. Dr. Bergman studied at Neuss Gymnasium in Ravensburg, Germany. He earned his master's degree at the University of Arkansas and his PhD at the University of Tübingen, Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Frank Bergman.
When we look up the word inauguration in the dictionary, we are informed that it derives from a Latin verb which signifies telling someone's fortune as by observing and interpreting the flight of birds. We still say something augurs well to express our confidence in achieving what we set out to do. Back in Germany, where I come from, the dissertation you submit for your doctorate is called Inaugural dissertation, implying that more good work will follow this first big undertaking. As we all know, Utica College was founded by and was part of Syracuse University. When I arrived here in 1969, Utica College was one of the 20 colleges that comprised the university. Initially, and for a good many years thereafter, Utica College was therefore headed by a dean who was appointed by the Syracuse chancellor. A change came at one point in the 60s, presumably at the instance of Utica College's foundation board, for purposes of fundraising and representation. The college's CEO was now called president. The first of these, as Provost Johnson mentioned, was Utica College biologist Ken Donahue, of whom I did not see much as he retired at the end of my first year. He was succeeded by an outsider, M.B. de Flumeret, after a nationwide search. Then came a series of essentially outright Syracuse appointees: Harold Rankin, General Tom Sheldon, Lance Baker, Utica College political scientist Mike Simpson, and Utica College psychologist Tom Brown. In the meantime, in the 90s, Utica College had become a standalone institution with its own board of trustees. And our eighth president, Todd Hutton, was appointed by our board with the university's concurrence after a nationwide search. It was during Todd's presidency that Utica College became entirely independent of Syracuse University. During my time here, there had been no formal inauguration until Todd's arrival. His was a spectacular affair, held in the beautifully decked-out Clark Athletic Center. You may ask, why not in the stadium, like today's inauguration? The answer is simple. We did not have a stadium. Though it did not take Todd very long to build one, as the first of many new structures and programs advancing the college from little more than a shirt-tail relation of the university to the comprehensive institution it is today. And that is the institution Laura Casamento has helped shape for over 10 years and formally inherits today. Two things about her are different from our previous 8 presidents. She's a woman, and she's a native of Utica. Women in life in general, and in academia in particular, have made great strides since 1969. I was on the search committee that found Utica College's first woman academic dean, Carol Guardo, in 1973. From her time forward, it has become obvious that being a woman can no longer be used as a special affirmative action advantage. What matters is a person's quality and integrity and technological savvy. As Todd Hutton's executive vice president, Laura Casamento has given proof of these 3. In my view, the second difference is important. Although Laura did not graduate from Utica College, she should have if her circumstances had allowed it, for she was exactly the kind of person The college has prided itself on preparing for a rewarding life and career. Someone who was not born with a silver spoon in her mouth, but today will be wearing the college's presidential medallion. She is tailor-made to carry on our educational mission. I began these remarks with an etymological reference to Latin, and so I will close them with a Latin phrase used to wish someone well. Quod bonum Faustum Felix fortunatum quissit, which I translate a little freely as, may the Lord bless Laura Casamento and her presidency.
Thank you, Dr. Bergman. Our next speaker is a native of Utica, a 1968 graduate of Proctor High School and a 1972 Utica College graduate. David D'Alessandro rose through the ranks at John Hancock Financial Services and became chairman and CEO, taking the 150-year-old company public in 2000 and growing it to the Fortune 200 ranks. He was named one of the country's best new CEOs by both Money and Worth magazines. He is chairman of SeaWorld and Busch Garden Entertainment, a former Boston Red Sox owner, Boston University vice chairman, Syracuse University trustee, and currently serves on a number of corporate and philanthropic boards. He is an author of 3 New York Times and Wall Street Journal national best-selling books, and among his honors, he is a recipient of the Ellis Island Medal of Honor, and as a leading sports marketer in the Olympics, Major League Baseball, and the Boston Marathon, he was ranked by the Sporting News as one of the most powerful people in sports for 9 consecutive years. Mr. D'Alessandro also has 3 honorary degrees, including a Doctor of Laws from Syracuse University. I am delighted to welcome back to campus former class president and Tangerine editor. Ladies and gentlemen, one of college's own, Utica College's own, David D'Alessandro.
Thank you for that kind introduction. I'd like to thank Chairman Polipczyk and the Board of Trustees, President Casamento, the faculty, and the entire Utica College community for the opportunity to speak today. It's particularly ironic for me. I'm a 72 graduate. I was here during the protesting 60s and 70s. I spent a fair amount of time trying to get rid of a UC president. So it's a little different today. I grew up, I don't know where East is from here, but I grew up in East Utica, a couple miles from here. It may as well have been 2,000 miles from here. I never even visited this campus until the very last day of registration. Until I was 17, I thought the abbreviation UC meant Utica Club. For those of you out-of-towners, it's a local elixir. But there's one more thank you that is long overdue. I'd like to thank all of you here for the quality education you afforded me. I don't know what would have become without it, but I know I wouldn't be here today. So this morning, I walked around the campus for the first time in 40 years. I'd like to say it felt like yesterday, but you know what? It felt like 40 years ago. I don't really recognize very much at all. I was disappointed that the marijuana plants my friends and I planted at the North Dorm, carefully cultivated by the staff here, have been mysteriously harvested. I'm truly amazed at what's happened on this campus. When I was a senior, we had 4.5 buildings, a new gymnasium, and mostly cornfields. Matter of fact, right where we are today, as I recall, was a cornfield. Now you have facilities and extensive academic programs unimaginable back then. Quite remarkable what's been accomplished in a testament to Todd Hutton and the entire community. We are not, however, the only college or university that has launched itself on a growth path. This spectacular expansion in American education is both a product of intensifying competition and a great cause of competitive strain. So you might ask, why is he talking about all of this on the joyous occasion of a presidential inauguration? Because I think it's critical that Utica College select the right leader for this particular moment in time, reflecting today's realities and not the past. In the last 20 years, hundreds of billions of dollars have been spent by our higher education system to expand. The largest campus construction and academic expansion in America's history. Yet since 2010, college enrollment overall has been declining as younger people choose other options or are shut out of rising costs. So what do we have in this country? We have skyrocketing construction costs and fewer students to pay for it. A formula that will cause some colleges to shrink or even go out of business, some of which have already done so. Now look, this is not a problem for big universities, big private universities with large endowments and great cash flow, and it's not a problem either for state universities, as they ultimately have the government to guarantee their security, despite public claims to the contrary. But it's a real problem for small and medium-sized private schools like Utica College, whose main source of income is tuition, and it's from a potentially shrinking pool of students, a pool subject to intense recruitment from other schools. That's for certain. For us at Utica College, there's only one answer. We have to be smarter and nimbler, not only to prosper, but to survive. The challenge is finding the right leadership for this complex new reality is not an easy task. I have chaired searches for corporate CEOs, university presidents, sports team presidents, police commissioners, and a series of nonprofits. The single most difficult search to get right, bar none, is a college CEO. There's really three reasons for that. First, the measurable currency in these other top jobs is quite easy to figure out. For a business CEO, it's how much profit you will make. For a police commissioner, it's about lower crime stats. For a sports team CEO, wins and champions. Nonprofit leaders, fundraising. One simple measurement each. For a college president, there's no such single measurement. There are instead a boatload of them. U.S. News and World Report rankings, endowment size, freshman SAT scores, total new student apps, federal grants, private research grants, capital projects, so forth and so on. The second reason it is so hard to select a college president, for those of you in this community who haven't noticed, everybody, and I mean everybody, has a very strong opinion as to who it should be. And everyone knows exactly the type of person you need to be president. Even the people who aren't even involved on the campus have an opinion. Alumni, of course, think an ideal college president absolutely has to be an alumnus. The scholars insist on a scholar, and to put a finer point on it, with all due respect, the poets want a poet, the nuclear physicists want a nuclear physicist, and the philosophers want, you know what, I don't know what philosophers want. I'm the last guy to ask about that. I got a solid D in philosophy. Meanwhile, college administrators cannot imagine someone who's not one of them. Business people want a proven CEO, and the same holds forth for politicians, journalists, nonprofit folks, and so forth. Everyone naturally wants what they're familiar with and the type of person they're familiar with. That's perfectly understandable. Now, I'm convinced if a spaceship were to land on the baseball field to my right, and a green Martian hopped out of that spaceship today, he would have an opinion. His 2 cents on the new president's criteria would be, well, first of all, you need to have an extraterrestrial. And preferably someone green like me and not blue like those other Martians. Then, as part of the process, of course, is the president's written job description. This utterly useless document usually takes months to write and get approved. Everyone hits on it. Everyone has to have a paragraph. Everyone has to have a verb, or at least a conjunction. It takes months to get it approved, and it compiles all the qualities that everyone believes ideally the president should have. And when you put it all together, the only thing the president could possibly be vulnerable to is kryptonite. The last reason it's so difficult to find the right candidate is the inevitable formation of the search committee. A time-honored tradition in colleges and many nonprofits, search committees have the unenviable task of listening to all the constituents, meeting endless times, debating relevant and totally irrelevant issues, combing through resumes, interviewing candidates, and somehow trying to come to a conclusion and consensus. Now, if everyone, this isn't just true here, it's true every place, if everyone who thought they deserved a seat on the search committee actually got one, you would fill this stadium. It's not easy to decide who sits and who sits out. Most college search committees are made up of 12 to 18 people, faculty from different disciplines, a few trustees, alumni, the required generous donor, a student, a college administrator, community leader, and basically a group of outstanding people who never would have reason to be in the same room together. Many who do not know each other, and the first meeting looks a bit like the Star Wars bar. Aliens kind of suspiciously looking at each other. Yet their task is monumental, and they end up putting a great deal of time that they hadn't expected into the process, and they slowly begin to puzzle it together. But what does this all mean? It means it's no easy job to find the right person. The Board of Trustees, led by Chairman Polipsik, and the search committee, led by Mark Salisbury, had a really tough job. Somehow, despite the cacophony of voices and processes, they knew some fundamental truths about who and what was needed to lead Utica College. They knew you cannot run a college like a business. If you did, there would be no humanities division. There has not been a literature department in the history of higher education that's actually made a profit. And it's not supposed to. The product of our education system is to provide that first-class education, including unprofitable disciplines. And that means capitalist principles cannot be universally applied. They know you can't run a college purely for academic and research purposes, or there'd be no college. It would be financially unviable. The harsh reality is everyone has to take responsibility for helping fund scholarly pursuits and keeping the institution financially stable. At the same time, they knew leadership that's going to provide a local campus experience was extraordinarily important, and that a total campus experience was very important, and that you needed to attract, and still do, quality students who want to not only come here, but to actually graduate and make a meaningful contribution to our society. Your leadership realized that whatever battles and disagreements occur on campus, in administration and the faculty, trustees, students, alumni, and whoever, wasn't the issue. The real issue was to develop candidates who can deal with today and tomorrow's reality of competing with other institutions who actually don't care about our future, don't care if we go out of business. After this thorough and exhausting process, did you select the right person? I have known Laura for over 30 years, well before her association with Utica College, before her business career, and even before she was a mom. Now, I see her every few years when she tries to hit me up for a very generous donation. Last year, she called me and asked if we could have dinner, and she tacked on an unusual comment, which was it was a personal discussion and not what I call a tin cup meeting, but that she needed some advice. At dinner, she told me Todd was retiring, and what did I think of her as she said, throwing her hat in the ring. I have to confess, when she said throwing her hat in the ring, I spilled part of my martini. But I gave her my best capitalist answer. I told her I thought it was a horrible idea and that she needed to come to her senses. Why would you want to put up with the warfare inside an academic institution, the warfare of faculty, administrators, alumni, trustees, students, and everyone else who thinks they have a claim? Why do you want to put up with endless meetings, committees, and lobbying? I asked her, Laura, why don't you come back to the business world? Your talents to organize, manage, create, and just get things done should be used to make money for a company and for you. You can make 5 times the money with a lot less aggravation. And besides, in corporate life, people don't talk back to you. And they pretty much do as they're told, which I don't think is the case here. Why in God's name do you want to spend the rest of your career herding cats? It took her a very long time to reply to me. And for those of you who know her, she's not very often lost for words. But when she found them, she said, I've been on the fence for a while. I know it's going to be really hard. I know it's going to be particularly difficult because I don't come from academic ranks. But you and others have helped me really decide. And she said, I don't really want a business life. There's nothing in the world I'd rather do than make the greatest difference I can at UC. I love every aspect of it, and it's worth all the difficulties. So much for my convincing powers. Look, Laura understands this job is not a walk in the park, that the challenges I described earlier are likely to be exacerbated in the coming years. She understands the competition and adversaries are not on this campus, that the real competition is other colleges fighting for student share, research dollars, quality faculty, donations, and recognition. I know her well. She will work to be inclusive, and she will often build consensus. But make no mistake about it, when there's no consensus to be had, or people would prefer to kick the can or procrastinate a decision that has to be made, she will make it. And they may not always be popular decisions, but she will make the best decision she can, best interest of the institution. That's what good leaders do, and that's what they do given today's challenges. The trustees and search committee had a very, very tough job to select the right person for today's Utica College. Dr. John Silber, an old friend of mine, the longstanding Boston University president, once told me that a college, a great college, is unlike any other type of institution. He said for a college to separate itself from the mediocre or the average, it needs a brain, a heart, and a soul. A brain to create and maintain financial stability, a heart to stay true to the academic mission, and a soul to provide students a positive life and a life-changing experience. As an alum, I'd like to thank the trustees and the search committee for having the wisdom in selecting a president who understands the brain, the heart, and the soul of the college we all love. Thank you.
The Utica College Choir will now perform the selection Bambelela.
I now invite Dr. Casamento to join me at the podium. By the powers vested in me as the Chair of the Board of Trustees, I officially declare your installation as the President of Utica College. Congratulations, Madam President. You will now be presented with the official symbols of the authority of the office of President, beginning with Utica College's institutional charter. Presenting the charter are Elliot Coleman and Cynthia Jarrell. Elliot is a senior communications arts major from Utica, New York, and Cynthia is a student in Utica College's online RN to BSN nursing program, and she resides in Canastota, New York. Granted in 1995 by the State of New York Department of Education, the institutional charter officially establishes Utica College as an independent college with its own administrative structure, board of trustees, and president. It is this charter that grants Utica College permission to award academic degrees. Next, Trustee Mark Salisbury, Chairman of the Presidential Search Committee, will present the Presidential Medallion. Gift from former Board Chair Lauren E. Bull. The Presidential Medallion is an emblem of office worn on official occasions of the college. On its face, it bears the college seal, which incorporates a variety of symbols representing the mission, values, and history of Utica College. The dates on the seal mark 3 important years in the college's history. 1946, its founding year. 1933, its origins as a Syracuse University extension site. And 1995, the year the college was chartered by the Board of Regents as an independent institution. And now Dr. Thomas Rossi will present the college mace. The mace of Utica College is a gift of the class of 1989. It was designed and made by Drs. James Caron, Professor Emeritus of Philosophy, with the collaboration of Professors Randall Huda, Edward Jones, Stephen Peake, Ralph Femano, and David Moore. The mace was adopted in 1990, just as the college was beginning its transition to an independent institution. By virtue of its distinctive design and ornamentation, the mace serves as a symbol of the unique mission of Utica Colleges, which is to provide an education that is accessible to all, one that is both liberal and humanizing, as well as practical and purposeful. President Casamento, we have complete confidence in you. On behalf of the entire Utica College community, I am honored and excited to formally welcome you as our 9th president.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. With a profound sense of gratitude, a deep sense of responsibility, and a great love of this institution, I stand before you as the 9th president of Utica College. I deeply appreciate your being here today. Your presence is a powerful testimony to the value of the work that takes place at this institution. I want to recognize and thank several groups of people who have made this day so special for me and for the college. To the members of the Platform Party, comprised of faculty, students, and distinguished alumni, I've been moved by your words and the passion you have shown for this institution and for this ceremony. To the Board of Trustees, of which I am now a member, thank you for the confidence that you have placed in me. To our dynamic and dedicated faculty, the heart of the college, thank you for your encouragement and your support. To our staff, who together with our faculty, demonstrate tremendous talent and tireless commitment, it is an honor to partner with you to do the good work of this institution. To our students who have entrusted their education to this college, thank you for inspiring us every single day and for shining so brightly. To the Inauguration Committee, chaired by Tricia Barone, thank you for your incredible effort to plan and organize not only this event, but a week-long celebration of the college. To our partners in facilities and food service and campus safety, thank you for making the seemingly impossible look so easy. To other friends of the college, members of the greater Mohawk Valley community, and many personal friends of mine, some of whom traveled great distances to be here today, thank you. I want to give special recognition to the many members of my cohort from the University of Pennsylvania who made the trip here to support me. To the members of the cohort appropriately named Fearless 14, thank you. And please remember this while you're here on campus. What happened in Philadelphia and Boulder better stay in Philadelphia and Boulder. Lastly, I want to thank my family. When you are born of Polish and German descent and then marry into a Sicilian family, even intimate family gatherings require space the size of a banquet hall. Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I would like to ask every member of my family who is here today to please stand. There you have it. Welcome to Sunday dinner at my house. Even my grandson Anthony is here. Anthony turned 8 years old last week. There he is. Anthony, I was thrilled to hear how excited you were to be here today until your mom told me that you got out of school early today to be here. I wonder if that had something to do with it. And just a reminder, you cannot leave your seat to play Pokemon Go during this ceremony. Okay? Seriously, where would I be without the love and support of my family? Without question, I have to single out my husband, Philip, for his dedication to our family and his love for me. You are the embodiment of a rock-solid human being. Who every single day puts the needs of everyone around you above your own. Thank you. And to our children, Brian, Gina, Nina, all three proud Utica College graduates. Nina's husband, Tony, Philip Jr. and his wife, Jessica, and Vincenzo, and you, Louie, as well as our grandchildren, Anthony, Filippo, Gianni, and Sophia. I live for Sundays with all of you. So this afternoon, we gather in a ceremony marking a transition of leadership at the college, and we do so in the context of a weekend known as homecoming. What a perfect time to reflect on the purposes and accomplishments of this noble institution, now 70 years young, and to consider our collective responsibility to see it forward into the future. For those of you who have joined us today from other places, I would like to welcome you to Utica and to the Mohawk Valley. I'm grateful to have had the good fortune to be able to raise my children in this wonderfully diverse, warm, and caring community. The city of Utica and the Mohawk Valley, in which it is nestled, is home to many first-generation families from many ethnic backgrounds who settled and struggled, found common cause, made friends, and came to feel the promise of America right here. As you know by now, this is home for me. This is where I grew up, where I was taught how to take care of myself, how to stand up for myself, how to figure things out for myself, and most importantly, to keep moving forward. To, as we say at Utica College, never stand still. Life is too short, the journey too long, and the views around the next bend too breathtaking to ever stand still. Having deep roots in Utica proved most helpful to me when I first came to work for the college in 2004 as Todd Hutton's Vice President for Institutional Advancement. As I was settling into my new work, I became aware that I had come under the watchful eye of one Dr. Virgil Crisafulli, a founding member of the faculty at Utica College, a legendary teacher, a highly respected and beloved figure in the college community and well beyond it. No one knew this college better than Dr. Chris did. At first, I thought he was keeping an eye out for me out of concern for the future of the college. After all, what could a former bank president possibly know about the considerably linear-less ways of higher education? But I soon came to appreciate that what he was actually doing was looking out for me, that he had my back, as we say today. Why he extended such a kindness to me, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he liked that I had a Sicilian last name. But whatever the reason, he befriended me. He wanted me to really come to understand this institution and the journey it was on from its adolescence to its adulthood. He wanted me to understand, I think, how humble were its origins, how human its mission, how transformative its effect, and how deeply profound was its contribution to the lives of its students and to the life of this community. One of the essential truths about Utica College is that we almost invariably believe in our students before they come to believe in themselves. And this hastens the day when they confidently take the reins of their own futures. We help them develop their self-confidence by showing our own confidence in them and by urging them along when perhaps they stumble. So it was in 1946 when our first students started filing into their classes. If a professor, such as Dr. Chris, noted the absence of a student on a particular morning, and they always did notice, that student could expect a knock on his or her apartment door that evening, inquiring as to whether everything was all right. Sometimes it wasn't. And then urging that student, gently but empathetically, back on course. Many a former GI needed to be convinced that they could make it work in college and in their private lives nearly as well as they had managed to survive the war. The faculty of this college recognized from day one that our students didn't arrive fully ready to succeed. They came as they were, bringing with them whatever talents, aspirations, memories, and fears they had developed thus far in life. The Utica College faculty wasn't dealing with uniformly prepared students. It was dealing with variously prepared students, now out of uniform. Our earliest students, more or less, shared the same objective, but the path each would need to walk to achieve it would be their own. It took a special kind of guide, a special kind of teacher, to help these students walk their own paths, and it always has. I've been here for quite a while now, and I am struck on an almost daily basis by how this college's contemporary faculty and staff honor the work of their predecessors. Every day, in classrooms, in offices, in hallways, and on the athletic fields, students take one more step toward that day in their own lives when surety will overtake hesitancy, when the fundamental belief that they can figure it out finally defeats the fear that maybe they can't. This academic community knows how to build the fire and strike the match, and that allows our graduates to leave here not just sure they will be well prepared for their first job, but empowered by confidence and intellectual curiosity, critical qualities shared by people who lead fulfilling and rewarding lives. In Dr. Chris's history of the early years of Utica College, he recounted what he said to those early students, most of whom were prematurely sophisticated and hardened by war, but at the same time made uncertain and vulnerable by peace. He said to them, "Within 20 years of when you get your college degree, you will be leaders of this city." He confessed to his readers, "I knew that was an extravagant statement, but I believed what I was saying." Some of them laughed, but many others took it in good faith and gained confidence from what I said. And I was only off by a few short years. In 25, 30, or 35 years, our graduates were all over the area in leadership roles as mayors, judges, legislators, teachers, lawyers, doctors, government and business leaders. Sitting among us today are a few of those original Utica College success stories, and many of their sons, daughters, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, alumni in their own right. You all know what this college did for you, and by extension, your family. And we all know what you and your families have done for this community. We thank Dr. Chris and all the hardworking women and men who came before us for showing us how to be a college that truly transforms lives. I hope that when the next chapter of the history of Utica College is written, that it will be said of our time simply this: that we strengthened the college's educational core, reaffirmed its most deeply held convictions, greatly increased the number of students who completed their degrees and graduated on time, and tended to the needs of this institution and the people who comprised it with discipline, wisdom, care, and love. In particular, I look forward to focusing our collective attention on working with the faculty and the staff to evolve new and effective ways to create improved conditions for student success, so that not just most students, but every student who enrolls at Utica College is able to persist in his or her studies, complete his or her degree, and graduate in as timely a manner as personal circumstances allow. When a student does not persist to a timely graduation, chances are we will have not lit the fire. He or she will have made an investment that did not pay off, and we will have made a promise that we did not keep. Both the student and the college will have lost. Despite all we have done and will continue to do in the years ahead to keep the cost of the education we provide as affordable as possible, a college education, ours included, represents one of the biggest expenses our students will ever incur in their lives. And for the majority of our students, it's an expense incurred before their real income producing years begin. For that expense to prove a good investment, students need to complete their studies, walk across the stage, receive their diploma, and shake my hand. As long as I serve this college as its president, it will be my goal to shake the hand of every student who enrolls at Utica College and hand each and every one of them their diploma. I love this college. I love its entrepreneurial spirit, the deep commitment of faculty and staff to the transformative work we do. I've seen the effect of that work in my own children and in other members of my family who were fortunate enough to find their way here. I love the students we teach, so bright, so optimistic, so much the hope of their families and communities. I love the way our faculty members teach them, how they spark their intellectual curiosity, how they come to help them believe in themselves. I believe that the whole world, not just Utica and the Mohawk Valley, needs us to keep our promise to the students we are preparing. The world needs more Utica College graduates. Their intelligence, their groundedness, their openness, their willingness. So I intend, in the strategic planning work we are about to undertake, to focus our objectives on strengthening the core of the college. I want us to stay light on our feet, be open to new ideas, and continue moving deliberately, but inevitably, forward. Utica College is on the move. We are attracting more and better qualified applicants than ever before. Our reputation, our brand, is strengthening and spreading. The caliber of our academic programs is high, and our athletic programs continue to gain momentum. This is all good news and a great and just tribute to the hard work of our faculty and staff and to my predecessor, Dr. Todd Hutton, and his inspired leadership over the past 18 years. When my presidency comes one day to its inevitable close, I hope the college historian will say of our years of work together that we never stood still, that during our time, Utica College became more united, more focused, and more financially secure. I hope he or she will write that the college never forgot where it came from or who it was here to serve, that we never forgot what our dedicated founders, like Dr. Chris, had in mind, and that we both urgently and creatively found new ways to meet the needs of the seriously and guardedly hopeful students of our own time as they sought to climb the ladder of economic prosperity. I hope it will be said that it was recognized throughout the region and the state of New York that this first college of Utica and the Mohawk Valley was this region's most dedicated and stalwart economic and cultural partner. An institution proud of its home and a home that is proud of it. I hope it will be said of these years that the college welcomed a brilliant new generation of colleagues into the fold, that we attracted next generation of teachers and administrators who Dr. Chris himself would have recognized in a heartbeat as his kind of people, that they brought with them, and we welcomed new ideas and perspectives that allowed this college to become an even better version of itself. I also want it to be said of these years that the college conducted its business in a manner consistent with certain bedrock principles of our democracy, so that we provided a good example both to our students and to ourselves. Utica College is a shining example of one of America's greatest achievements, small American college. Institutions like ours are largely unheard of in other places in the world, and they are coveted all over the world for the unique things we are capable of doing with the human mind and spirit. But in this time of great divide in our country, I hope you will agree, America is having some trouble being its own best self. As a body politic, we seem unable to engage in healthy debate or to sway one another towards opinions not already held. Hardly a new phenomenon in our country's history. It's more like a swing of the pendulum. The freedom of speech is the cornerstone of a free society.
The freedom of speech comes with obligations, not just to allow others to speak, but to be willing to consider what they are saying. It is in the trading of ideas, not in the shouting of intractable points of view, that we find societal grace. Utica College must always be a place in which it is safe to bend, safe to reconsider, safe even to change one's mind. And because this is a place open to debate and respectful of the debaters, it must also be a place of discernment. A place where good ideas are able to emerge as good and bad ideas are eventually found out. We must, as an educational institution, always allow for the exchange of ideas without judgment as to their right to be heard. It can never be the case at Utica College that an idea dies for lack of air. If an idea dies, let it be because it could not prove itself. And most of all, let it be said that we met head on the greatest threat to this institution's full realization of its promise by raising to the highest number possible the percentage of our students who persist to on-time graduation. In my view, doing this is nothing less than a moral imperative. We must keep our promise. We have the talent. We're hard at work acquiring the resources. But what we need most of all is your continued, redoubled, and generous commitment to our shared mission. In closing, I would ask each of you on this day, at least all of you who have not joined us from another institution to which you are yourself dedicated, to reflect on your own relationship to Utica College, to reaffirm your loyalty, your appreciation, your determination to ensure that this institution will always be here, always in Utica, always at the ready to help the next generation. Let all of us become this institution's storytellers. Let us tell all those who don't know it the story of our college's pioneers, explorers, investigators, champions, entrepreneurs, and ambassadors. Let us tell the stories of adversities overcome and triumphs achieved. Let us share the spirit of Utica College, and in so doing, help the women and men who will be the future of this college to find their way here. I thank the search committee and the Board of Trustees for the honor of the opportunity to serve as the 9th president of Utica College. I will need the help of each and every one of you gathered here today as we move forward, and I can assure you I will not hesitate to ask for it. For now, though, I only ask for your commitment to and enthusiasm for telling others about the promise this institution makes, that we will inspire our students to create a future for themselves that is beyond their imagining. Thank you.
Thank you, President Casamento. Now I'll ask that you all join the Utica College Choir in singing the Alma Mater, which can be found on page 15 of the program.
Graduates and all everywhere hold sway.
This concludes the installation ceremony. Thank you all for attending. I ask that you remain seated until the platform party and faculty recess. Then please join us for a special reception in the Clark Athletic Center.